Astros in game 2 of this series. We're going to break it down on today's Locked On Twins postcast.
You are Locked On Twins postcast, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, your team every day.
And welcome to another edition of our Locked On Twins postcast. Today is Thursday, May 12th. I'm the host of Locked On Twins, Nash Walker, here with writer and reporter at Access Twins, Brandon Warren. We want to tell you our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. BetOnline.net is where the game starts. Brandon, welcome back. Happy Thursday. It is a quasi doubleheader for the Twins. They resume a suspended game from last night. Looked like they might battle early, but this one got away from them in a hurry.
Yeah, nothing like a 20-hour-long loss in what was going to be the rubber game, I guess, technically, of the series. But, yeah, this is one you just kind of try to flush and hopefully can find a way to show something in the nightcap, if you want to call it that. It's going to have a first pitch at about 3 o'clock, so it's not really a nightcap. But, yeah, a few things, the positives you can take away. Gilberto Celestino keeps hitting. Royce Lewis had a nice game. Jorge Polanco with a couple hits and really stung a ball there late. But, yeah, other than Yennier Cano, not much good on the pitching side.
Yeah, Cano, 95 with a sinker, hard slider, weird arm slot. Looks like he could be a bullpen weapon, at least against righties maybe in the short term.
Yeah, I liked the numbers don't look good with how it kind of snowballed on him in the third inning, but they needed the length. I thought the two-seam action on his changeup was especially good, too. And there was a couple times he bended back into the strike zone. And I like that aesthetic where the ball is out of the strike zone for as long as possible and then clips it at the last second. I feel like that's really hard for hitters to track. Then again, too, there's not that much data on Cano outside of maybe some minor league reports and whatever StatCast minor league data can be pulled from the parks that they've played in. But, yeah, Chris Archer embattled. Didn't look good. I think he's gonna be, and I tweeted this last night, a bad ASS reliever for this team once they get everybody else healthy. But right now he's kind of a mess.
So you think potentially Chris Archer to the bullpen once this rotation kind of fills out a little bit?
You sure hope so. I mean, I don't want to see him get DFA'd when he's throwing 95, 94. I think I saw him touch 196, but the velocity and stuff is there. I just don't think he has it in him to do it more than 2-3 innings at a time. And the way they've used multi-inning relievers, he could be a real asset for them, especially if they shorten up with Duran.
Twins are 18-13, Brandon. Is it time to start wondering if those one-year deal guys could be fading? I know Dylan Bundy was on the COVID list, but he was activated prior to starts, 15 earned runs. And now we've seen from Archer just unable to command the ball for a lot of these starts. So when do you begin to not phase those guys out, but as you said, change some roles or mix things up?
Yeah, I mean, your hand is forced on a lot of those because when Bailey Ober comes back, somebody's going to have to get the boot, and they're not going 6 men the whole time. So I think Bundy maybe settles in that long relief role just because the roles are so nebulous. I mean, they've cycled through Coulomb, Cano, I mean, even Derek Rodriguez a while back. There's room for these two guys to hang on the roster, but in different roles. I think Bundy has probably already got one foot out the door, and Archer's probably looking out the door thinking, hopefully I'm not out there too soon. But I could see a role for both, but I think it's too early to worry about the team. But for individual players, those two guys, you have to have some level of concern about.
Yeah, tell some Twins fans why this is not super concerning. The Twins have fallen twice now in a row to the Astros in games that didn't feel very competitive. But if you can get the third game, feels like that's okay to lose 2 out of 3 at Target Field, given how banged up the Twins are.
Yeah, and then you get back into the easier part of your calendar with Cleveland coming. So you would love to obviously take this last one, show some competitive spirit, which has just not been there this series. But, I mean, there's a reason why you're in this spot with Miranda hitting second and Gary Sanchez hitting near the top of the order. And, maybe Rocco switches some things up, maybe move Lewis up, Celestino up, or even better yet, we'll probably see Luis Arise back in the lineup, Byron Buxton probably at the top of the lineup. It's going to be a whole different complexion, and that's only going to continue as guys start to come back, which is, again, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, sounds like Arise is going to be in the lineup game 2, and as you mentioned, Buxton as well. So the Twins have three of their best four hitters back when they had been missing, three of their best four hitters the last couple of days. Correa's still out, going to be a couple more for him as well. I want to tell you about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is awesome. Go to LinkedIn if you are a job seeker, if you're looking to fill jobs. LinkedIn is outstanding. Thank you, LinkedIn, for your continued support of our Locked On Twins postcast. Brandon, let's preview game 2. It's Josh Winder, Luis Garcia. What do you expect to see in this one?
Hopefully more of the same from Winder. We saw struggles from Joe Ryan last time out, which shows the volatility of even very, very good rookie or inexperienced starting pitchers. And it's going to be a test. Again, like I said, this isn't the Astros with Correa and Springer still in the lineup, but down the middle. And this is what actually I noted with Cano. He did have an inning where he retired in order Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel. I think that was the second inning of the day. That middle of the order can hang with anybody. The top of the order is still good. So it's going to be a challenge for Winder. Hopefully he gives them some depth just because, again, even with the 27th man, they're still going to need that added depth. So hopefully at least 5 and dive, if not 6, and more of the same from what he showed last time out. I think it was against Tampa Bay. But, again, they need a stopper. It wasn't Chris Archer. Maybe it can be Josh Winder.
Astros used a couple of their higher leverage relievers in Hector Neris and Ryan Stanek. Maybe it's an advantage. The Twins have 2 games today. Those guys could be unavailable. Expect to probably see Yoander on here in the second game, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, other than if it's another 11-3 game in either or direction. But at the same time, they're not going to want him to sit on the shelf, Griffin Jacks to sit on the shelf too long. I'd say if the game's close at all, yeah, both of those guys are in play. And then knock on wood, we'll see what happens if it's Emilio Pagan in the 9th inning.
Duffy not used either. Those guys haven't pitched in a couple of days. You mentioned Jax. I can't remember the last time we saw Jax last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a bit for him as well. So Twins fall in the first 2 games. You mentioned they get a simpler schedule moving forward, but this Houston team, the Twins have been fortunate in the early going to catch teams in their downswings, right? The A's had lost a bunch of games in a row. The White Sox were dinged up. This is their first real series where Houston came in. I think they'd won 7 in a row. Now it's 9 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the impact of that this Astros team is just kind of clicking on all cylinders right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I think they had the number 1 ERA last week for entire staffs, and it was like 1 something. I mean, they've been running other teams over. That doesn't mean that you need to lay down on the road and let you be the next victim, but they haven't even really put up a fight, and that's obviously a little bit problematic. At the same time, too, again, it's a runaway express. We thought the Dodgers were a tough test for the Twins, and they were, to some extent. Seattle, too, pretty good team. But, fans are going to want to see them start showing up against the Cleveland will be more of a challenge than maybe they seemed like earlier in the season. They're really hitting. You just got to show a pulse against some of these good teams while you're ironing out some kinks, whether it's slumps or weathering the storm with injuries. And so far, the Twins aren't showing that, so I kind of get the angst, but at the same time, they're 5 games over 500, and in general, they've played pretty good ball this season.
Yeah, let's look ahead a little bit to the weekend series. It's Aaron Savali, Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in that order. Those are the probables. Sonny Gray Friday against Savali. You hope Gray now, after a solid outing against the A's at Target Field, can settle into that frontline starter role that he was, they traded for this offseason.
Yeah, the stability will trickle down from there, and certainly it hasn't come from the other veterans in the rotation, and so they're going to need that from Gray. There's all the reason in the world to believe that he can provide that, assuming he's healthy, and that's basically, you can say if healthy about just about everything with this team or any team in the league. So yeah, I'm hopeful, but it's a pretty solid trio of Cleveland pitchers to face too, and keep an eye on Sam Hentges, who's been absolutely nasty in the bullpen. He's I think a Mounds View graduate. So they've got some things going on for that team. They're pretty tough. They're not going to roll over for the Twins, but it's going to be entertaining, and you're probably going to see some of Cleveland's best starting wise. So buckle up.
Yeah, Shane Bieber back at Target Field. I think the last time he pitched at Target Field was that amazing battle in 2020 where he just absolutely mowed down the Twins. But hopefully we don't see that on Saturday. Brandon, thank you so much. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, his velo's been down, so there'll be something to watch too.
Right. 89, 90, more so than, he was 93, 94 in his Cy Young season, if I remember correctly. So maybe the Twins can take advantage. Still very good, but not the same guy we saw 2 years ago. Brandon, thank you so much, sir. Hopefully the Twins bounce back here in game